Right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's cabinet meeting. Fire drill is not expected. If the alarm sounds, please evacuate the building quickly and calmly. Please use the stairs and not use the lifts. Exit by the door to which you entered the room. Once out of the building, please gather on outside the Lloyds Bank on the opposite side of the road. If you need any assistance in evacuating the building, please make yourself known to a member of staff. Also, make sure your mobile phones are turned off or set to silent. Apologies. Was it? No, none received. Okay. So, absent then, Kath Price, Council Price. The declarations of interest, is everybody happy with what's wrote on the website? Yep. Okay, thank you. Item 4, minutes of the last meeting. Is everybody happy if I sign them? Yep. Okay, thank you. Item 5, public consultation, public speakers. Item 7, County Councillor Keith Condacourt. Item 8, County Councillor Keith Condacourt. Item 10, County Councillor Keith Condacourt. Item 11, County Councillor Keith Condacourt. Item 12, County Councillor Keith Condacourt. And item 13, County Councillor Keith Condacourt. Non-cabinet members, non-present. Item 6, supplementary planning documents, permission to consult. A report of the Assistant Director, and this is over to Councillor Tony Benson.
Yeah, thank you. I've got a statement to read regarding this first. This report seeks approval to consult on a suite of updated and new supplementary planning documents. These SPDs provide vital guidance and supports the implementation of our Borough Plan Review and ensures that development across Borough continues to be high quality, sustainable and responsive to local needs. These documents offer important detailed guidance to applicants, developers and planning officers. While SPDs are not statutory development plan documents, they are a material consideration in determining planning applications and therefore play a significant role in shaping the form and quality of development in our borough. Most of the SPDs proposed for consultation are updates to existing documents relating to affordable housing, health impact assessment, hot food takeaways, sustainable design, and construction and transport demand matters. The existing SPDs are aligned to the former Borough Plan, which has now been superseded by the Borough Plan Review, adopted in December 2025. It is therefore essential that these SPDs are refreshed to reflect our current policies. We are also presenting a new Heritage SPD, which includes a local list that has been independently reviewed by specialist heritage consultants. This new SPD will help us better protect our local heritage assets and ensure they receive appropriate consideration through the planning process. Members should also be aware that government guidance published in November 2025 requires all new and updated SPDs to be adopted by June 2026. While this guidance remains subject to consultation, we cannot assume that timeframes will change. Therefore, progressing these SPDs now is the most prudent course of action. Subject to Cabinet approval, a 4-week public consultation will be held between 4th of Feb and 4th of March 2026. All responses received will be carefully considered and incorporated where appropriate before the SPDs are scheduled to be brought back to Cabinet and full Council in April 2026 for endorsement and adoption. So on the back of that, apologies. It's died. I'd like to draw everybody's attention to section 2 of the report in section 6, calling for the noting of the report. And everything else associated, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Benson. Can I have a seconder for that? Okay, Councillor Hay. Move to public consultation. County Councillor Keith Condacourt.
Chair, these SPDs can be very useful, and it was described earlier to continue the sustainable development we have going on in the borough. But a lot of the development has been quite low quality, and we've had very poor enforcement up to now of a lot of development. So I do hope these SPDs are still valid whilst the new ones are consulted on, i.e. there's not a gap in our SPDs. I do hope we actually have more enforcement, so actually developers do what they say they're going to do. And I'm particularly keen on the transport SPD, because we do need to make sure when we develop things, we do have bus stops within 400 metres, we do have the right cycling access, etc. And I'm particularly keen on things like safe walking routes to school, which should be right at the heart of our transport SPD. And we've built some, well, not us personally, but developers have built some really bad stuff. We've got a bus stop on the Heim Lane that's stuck in the middle of a hedge on a 40-mile-an-hour road. And we've got the issues down Gypsy Lane, where we've got new housing developments and no bridge over the Wen Brook, so people can't safely walk to the schools in Whitestone. So whilst I'm supportive of these SPDs, we need to get them in properly, we need to get them enforced. And on the local list one, I really hope we can actually save Nuneaton Library, the old library, as we're gradually losing space for community activities. I think the Hatter space is going to get taken back to fully being used for a children's hub. I think things like the library, if we can save the old building for community use, would be really good. Thank you, Chair.
Hold on, you can show you more. Right, okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. Just one comment, really. Would it be possible to actually have something with the track changes? Because I sort of did lots of, when they were originally put up, the consultations for that and things. So it'd be just nice to know what's actually been changed, because I'm sure it's not actually a huge amount, rather than having to plough through the whole lot.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions? Any points of clarification? Anyone want anything clarifying? No? Okay, thank you. Right, so it's been proposed, been seconded. Can we move to the vote? Okay, cheers, thank you. Item 7. Let's now Councillor Tony Benson again. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. Again, I'd like to draw everybody attention to section 2 of the report, the recommendations. It's recommended that the Cabinet approve the revocation of Air Quality Management Area 2, and it's recommended that the report is taken to OSP in early 2026 to outline the steps to be taken with the Council to adopt an air quality strategy for the whole borough to ensure that air quality remains a high-profile issue. Before we move on with that, I'd just like to add this point, reminding that when we first took back over last year in 2024, we found that a lot of the air tubes had been stuck in the same location for a long time, and we had them moved so that it could actually pick up more relevant data around the town and the borough. So on the back of that, things have certainly improved with the work that we brought regarding this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benson. Can I have a seconder? Councillor King, thank you. So over to speakers. That's 7. Let's have a look. County Councillor Keith Condacall.
Chair, I can't believe we're talking about removing the air quality zone along Midland Road, Corporation Street. The air quality in this area has not significantly improved for years. Even though some people are getting cleaner cars, a lot of the pollution is down to the congestion and the lorries and the heavy goods vehicles, and a lot of stuff going up to the various waste and industrial sites up Tuttle Hill, etc. So we really need to get the air quality an awful lot better, not just a little bit below 40 parts per micrograms per cubic metre. We have probably still got 10 or 20 or even 30 people dying early of various diseases due to air quality. They reckon about 5% of deaths occur earlier due to air quality. And places like Midland Road, that would be significantly more. And obviously, a lot of the people who die due to air quality were going to die because they've got a whole lot of compounding factors. But the area around Midland Road, yeah, it's absolutely intolerable in terms of what the air is like there. And we really do need to actually make a change. Looking at your graphs, there's hardly been a change at all. And to put these numbers in context, the World Health Authority is talking about numbers like 20. Vegetation starts dying at 30. And we have some of these sites that are going up to 35. Yeah, we really do need a look at this. And we're only looking at NO2 here, and a lot of the health problems are from particulates, diesel, burning stuff, combustion. And there's a lot of industrial stuff up that area as well, which is adding to the mixture in Abbey Green. So I definitely don't think we should revoke this. I think we need to be driving harder towards getting the area cleaned up, looking at the transport that comes through the area, because obviously if you have a planning application just in Abbey Green, Tuttle Hill, up there, and it goes through an air quality management zone, the planners actually start talking about what impact will it have on air quality. Yeah, I wouldn't live anywhere with air quality this bad. Unfortunately, some people don't have a choice because of how much wealth they have and where they have to rent, etc. But we've got schools, we've got very little narrow pavements and very little frontage. If you go down Corporation Street, people's front doors in Midland Road are actually on the road virtually. So I think it's unacceptable for this council to revoke it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Keith Concourt. Any points of clarification from that? Councillor Benson.
Yeah, just a minor one. Although taking on board what you said in your statement, I believe at the OSPs as well, and also at previous cabinet meetings, also at council, full council, it was told by the officers that the tubes would still be left in place and that the levels will still be monitored. The reason why the air quality management programme is being removed is because it's below government levels and it's something to do with funding. So the tubes are still in place. So if it does rise, then they can always be brought back in. And that's the extra info I wanted to say.
Thank you. Councillor Michelle Concourt.
I haven't got a huge amount to add to what Keith's already said, but I think air quality is one of those really hidden problems, and the fact that it's not an air quality management thing makes people much more blasé about doing anything about it. So I also have concerns about it being revoked. I know it says DEFRA's saying that you've got to and things, but it needs to be really high on the priorities of improving what's already there.
Thank you. Any points of clarification on that? Right, I'd just like to say on the work that you've been doing on this, Councillor Benson, thank you very much, because it's been, as you said earlier, it's been highlighted that some of the tubes, the monitoring tubes, have been in place for decades and possibly in the wrong place. So we've moved them to a place where we'll get better measurements now. And just to remind people that Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council are, we measure the air quality. It's Warwickshire County Council that are responsible for improving the air quality, and we wish they would do more about it themselves. We are taking advice off the Public Health, and we are trying to work with the County Council on doing some improvements, and we have had some commitments from them at the minute. So thank you for all the work that you're doing on that, Councillor Benson. So it's been moved, been seconded. Can we move to the vote? Thank you. Item 8, contract value uplift. So this is from myself. So the recommendations are on 2. That the Cabinet approves the increase to the financial values as detailed at paragraph 3.6 of the report. Can I have a seconder for this? Councillor Benson, thank you. And speakers on this are County Councillor Keith Conco. Non-cabinet member Michelle Conco.
Well, I mean, I think obviously everything has gone up and things, so I mean, it's no surprise that you're having to actually uplift the contract values to cover everything.
Thank you. So it's been moved, seconded. Can I have a vote? Thank you. Item 9, value uplift independent living unit cleaning contract with NABCEL. Again, I'd like to move the recommendations set out in the report. And can I have a second? Are you seconded already? Okay, then Councillor Hughes, thank you very much for that. And speakers on this are, oh, no speakers. So can we move to the vote? Thank you. That's through. Item 10, Pride in Place. Councillor King.
Purpose of the report, the recommendations on 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3. This is for the Pride in Place.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that? Councillor Price, thank you very much. Speakers on this, County Councillor Keith Conco. So it's item 10, Pride in Place, Programme Camp Hill.
Sorry, Chair, I was reading ahead. Yeah, I'm really keen we put money into Camp Hill, but not just Camp Hill, the areas around. I think we did a lot of stuff work quite well in the past. We had days where we had skips and things for people to clean up areas. And I think it is good we have a pride in a lot of these areas. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of interesting people. And yeah, I do hope we look at the environmental stuff quite a lot on this. Litter, trees, making the whole area look and feel a lot better. Because the more you actually regenerate an area in terms of the look and feel, the more actually people want to live there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any points of clarification? No. Non-cabinet member? No, nothing. Okay. Move seconded. Can we vote? Thank you very much. That's gone through. Item 11, Council Tax Support Scheme. Over to Councillor A.
Thank you, Chair. It's a council tax support scheme. I was a bit surprised when I first saw the first draft on this, that this hadn't been reviewed since 2013, so that's well overdue. There are some areas that do need a close look at, particularly where you've got a situation where people, it's not a question of won't pay, but can't pay, and I think all that needs looking at properly. So the proposal is actually to have a consultancy to review all this with a view to introducing a new scheme in 2027, and we're sharing the cost of that with North Warwickshire Council, so we'll be paying about £5,625. So on that basis, I'm keen that this does get reviewed because it's been a while since it happened, and therefore I move at the recommendations in section 2 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does that have a seconder? Councillor Hughes, thank you. Speakers, County Councillor Keith Conco.
The local council tax support scheme is really, really important. And basically, this is providing funds for those who struggle to pay the local council tax. About 13% of that goes to the Borough Council. Most of it goes to the County Council and a bit to the police. The better and more generous a scheme is, the more money it costs. But that cost comes from the County Council, the police, and 13% from ourselves. So if we have a less generous scheme than other people, we're effectively cross-subsidising other areas for our council tax. But if we have a very robust scheme that helps as many people as we can, it's actually bringing money in from that bigger pool. So it's really important we try and make the scheme as generous as possible. And actually, sometimes having this scheme means we're not chasing people for money they haven't got. I understand the point of it about banding, but banding also has sometimes unintended consequences. And particularly with people floating around the edge of a band, they may not want to take a job or earn £1 more because you can go up and then be out of a band. And I always like ramps and things so that you get so much, and then rather than you've earned £4,000, whatever you've got too much, there's actually a taper. And so either we need gentle bans, a couple bans, or we need a taper so that we don't have any unintended consequences for people at the edge of the band. But I'm very much in favour of us looking at this, making sure it's as generous as possible, because trying to get money from people who haven't got it is a futile exercise anyway. You might as well actually have a scheme that says, if you're in this circumstance, don't pay. But also we do need to make sure we go after people who can pay and can't be bothered. So I hope we will have a good look at this when the consultants come back. And I say, please don't do silly bans that mean people lose a lot of money when they go over a threshold, either a taper, or sometimes you can claim up to, say, £200 support. And if you work, but actually there's some mechanism so it actually doesn't, you don't lose all £200 for earning £1 more.
Any points of clarification? No. Non-cabinet member?
Well, I'm a little surprised that it says it hasn't been reviewed, because I feel like there was a review a few years back, and it was changed because we've been speaking about this at cabinet for a long while, going back to previous administrations. I think the important thing is that it gets fully used at whatever level it's set at, because we've had this before, that a lot of the money wasn't actually given away, and then we were actually having to return a load to the county and others. So it is obviously a good thing to be reviewing it and have someone who understands the system, and making sure that it's helps as many people as possible, and we don't make it difficult for people to claim, and not actually then they don't bother and then they're in more difficulty, because that doesn't help anyone. Thank you.
Any points of clarification?
Thank you, Chair. Section 3.2, Councillor Condigo's report, does say that the policy is reviewed annually to bring in line the Department of Work and Pensions annual uprating, but there's been no significant fundamental review since 2013. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor A. Right, it's been moved, seconded. Can we move to vote? Okay, thank you. That's passed. Right, item 12, recommendations from Local Government Reform Subcommittee. It was recommended to Cabinet that the report be noted and the actions raised be brought back to a future meeting of the Local Government Reform Subcommittee, and recommended to Council it is most logical to defer a full Council decision to initiate the community governance review until the government has decided on the future structure of local government within Warwickshire. So that's recommended to Cabinet, so I'm happy to put that forward. Can I have a seconder? Councillor A, thank you. Got no... Oh yeah, I have Councillor Keith Condicle.
Sorry, Chair, I get told I speak too much, but I do want to say we should start thinking and talking about this local government review, because when we get a unitary or two unitaries, the financial modelling says we end up with 2 town councils and maybe a parish council for Bulkington, and they will come at a cost of around £2 million, and that will be funded by about £50 odd precept on houses in the borough. So I do think we need to look at this, because if we have a smaller parish and town councils that do less, that cost is less, but then we obviously need to make sure that the county does the stuff that we don't, because otherwise what we end up doing is we end up having a local governance that actually costs us more than other areas, but we do need some local governance at the parish and town level as well. So I know why you want to put this talking off about this until we know what we get back from government, but I do think we need to start a working group and thinking about what local government could look like with unitaries, because they're really important not to lose out all our say and all our civic stuff as we go to unitary. There's a lot of things that don't cost very much money but provide a lot of civic pride that need to sit somewhere. So rather than it being done to us, I think we need to be actively talking about what the structure will be. and 1 or 2 unitaries is still, you're going to need some form of other bits of local government. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Michelle Concourt? No, nothing. Okay, thank you. So I've moved it. It's been seconded. Can we move to the vote? Thank you. Okay, any other business is item 13. We have none, so I'd like to close the meeting. Thank you.